Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a best class setup video. Essentially it's going to be 3 of my favourite classes to use when I'm playing game battles in a competitive rule set environment, and then 7 class setups I like to use in pubs. Feel free to skip ahead if you're not a fan of the the competitive side of things, to jump straight into the pub side of things. I will put a bookmark down on the timeline so you can skip ahead if you wish. Yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. We're going to be starting off with the CDL subclass, and for me this is going to be the MP40. You guys probably guessed, the gun absolutely melts. This is the class setup I have for it. The only thing that people do tend to change is the rear grip and the underbarrel, but this has worked for me the best. It is a bit bouncy compared to other setups, but I like the quick ADS. It makes you dominant in those close range gunfights. The optic is one of the other things people tend to change. I like the iron sight because again it reduces your aim down sight time. Yeah, I think it's the one for me. Moving on to the actual class setup, we have the knife for that extra mobility when you're just coming off spawning. You want to get a quick, you want to run to hill quickly. Ninja, radar, and double time are pretty much staples for the competitive environment. A lot of people tend to switch ninja out for maybe forward fired or survival training, but ninja works for me because it's a sub. And you want to be getting behind people without them sound whoring you. Then I have a gamma bomb and stun grenade. Moving on to the CDL AR STG setup. This tends to be the AR I tend to use in CDL, and that's going to be that. If you guys don't know, a lot of this rule set at the moment doesn't allow any attachments whatsoever that affect your fire rate or your damage. So if you're wondering why I don't have the damage magazines on here, that is why they're just banned. As well as vital, because apparently it's quite cheesy and a bit overpowered, so this balances it out quite nicely. So yeah, that's going to be the most class setup for the STG. The rest of the attachments and perks are exactly the same, so let's move straight on to the automaton. This tends to be a bit more of a long range gun for me, so for example if I'm playing Demyansk or Castle, I'd probably, and I was the only AR in the team, I'd probably use this over the STG. Because it just is a bit more dominant at those longer ranges, with help from the tight grip proficiency. So yeah, feel free to pause it on here. I could go through each attachment and tell you why I'm using it, but I think that'd be boring for you guys. You don't want a 20-minute long video of me talking about attachments. You guys know what they're there for. Yeah, give this gun setup a go. Let me know how you get on. The only change with this class setup is going to be, instead of a gammon bomb, I'm using the Mark II frag grenade, simply due to the fact that when I'm using the automaton, I tend to be a bit further out the gunfight. And if you guys don't know, gammon bombs can't be thrown as far as frag grenades, so I like to have the frag grenades on, so I can yeet it into the gunfight from a distance. As regards to the CDL setups, they're really the only ones I tend to use. I don't think there's any other guns really that compete with these 3. Maybe the PPSH is a really close range SMG, but I don't think that's really meta. And you are stuck if you use the PPSH to only engage in a really close range gunfights, whereas the MP40 is versatile. So that's going to be it for the CDL setups. Now let's get straight into the pub setups. So the first gun we're going to have is the NZ41 with this class setup. This has been one of my favourites I've had so far. It kills really quickly. I think it's 3 or 2 bullet kill, depending on if you hit headshots. And it just puts out a lot of damage. The fire rate is a bit slow, so if you're looking for a gun a little bit forgiving, this might not be the one. But with these attachments, the recoil is pretty low, and it is quite accurate, so you should be able to hit your shots. I don't have a magazine, simply due to the fact that I think the negatives outweigh the positives for me. Obviously you could go with the short, the fast mags, but I don't think that, again, you're losing 10 mags. It's not, I don't think it's the one. Yeah, give this a go. I mean, the only thing that people do tend to change is the rear grip, if they want a bit more accuracy, but I like the faster ADS time for me. It tends to work. Again, the rest of the class setup is going to be pretty much the same. Most of my classes run ninja radar double time because I like to get around the map without being heard. I like to see people shooting on the radar, and I like to be able to use tac sprint off spawn a lot quicker, just to get in their faces quicker. The only difference you will see on here though is I have thermite and stim. Now stim for me is a staple for most of my classes in pubs because it means I can get in and out of gunfights and heal a lot quicker than normal. And then thermites are nice, just shutting down a lane. Be annoying, you know. I'm not quite annoying to use the incendiary grenades because they're absolutely diabolical. I don't know why they put them in the game, so I refuse to use them. And I use the thermite, so I'm not going to be promoting that whatsoever. Moving on to the PPSH. As I said previously, this is an absolute nuts close range SMG. It reminds me a little bit of the Mac 10 from Cold War. There's a lot of recoil, but if you get within like 5-10 meters of someone, you're going to be killing them unless they've got a shotty. So these are the attachments I have on it. You'll see I have a lot, although you can have 10 attachments, a common mistake I see people making is that they put all the 10 attachments on, even if the negatives are awful. If you ever see in any of these setups that I've left it blank, it's because I couldn't. There is, for example, on the stock. Oops. You can pick, I know, for example, this one, but then your sprint to fire speed's bummed. Whereas if you wanted something a bit more versatile, it reduces, you know, your recoil control. So I just think the positives do not outweigh the negatives with any of these, and same goes for the magazines. So if you ever see a blank space like that, it's simply due to that fact. Yeah, if you think the PPSH has a lot of recoil, give this one a chance. I've tried to reduce the horizontal recoil as much as I can with this setup, but the vertical recoil is still a little bit high. So all you've got to do when you're shooting this at range is pull down slightly. The close range gunfights, however, if you aim at the chest and just shoot, you're going to be shooting them in the head because it just goes up naturally. So this is a nice gun to use. And with that fast fire rate, it is a little bit more forgiving. Again, the rest of the class is pretty much standard. Moving on to the STG. I did have an STG class above, but this is different due to the fact that the banned things in the CDL aren't here. So for example, the Vital wasn't allowed. Now this gun is an absolute demon. It's still probably meta. I've seen a lot of people using other guns, but this one, for those longer range gunfights, is still just going to kill you so much quicker. So yeah, that's my current STG class setup. You can choose a silencer over this, but I like having the damage range available to me. And the 45 round mags, obviously you can change out for something else. They did a patch recently where the vital proficiency doesn't work with the damage mags for any gun, because I did enjoy the Type 100, but that was only good with the damage mags and vital. So yeah, I've opted for the 45 round mag and vital proficiency, as I think it is just the better thing to be doing. The rest of the class setup is a little bit different to normal. So I have the rat. You guys really aren't interested in that probably. The perks are going to have a fortified, which essentially means that I've reduced the damage from explosives, and then obviously radar as normal, and tactician. Now tactician means that you can regenerate your equipment every 30 seconds, so I get unlimited stims essentially, which is nice on pubs. Again, it was like that in Cold War. I don't know why they nerf stims like that, but yeah, tactician reduces that. Moving on to one of the new guns this season, and for me, I think they do this with every new gun in every season. It's absolutely nuts. It's taken my favourite spot as a gun from the Volk. The Volk used to be a very versatile AR. It used to be quite a close range AR, like close to medium range, and this is sort of taking that position. So that's the class setup for this. I would fully recommend giving it a go. It kills really quickly. The fire rate's quite high, so it's quite forgiving. The recoil can be a little bit high, but again, it's not for those long range gunfights. If you want to win long range gunfights, I'd pick the STG or the Automaton over this. But for those medium range gunfights, this is the gun you're gonna want to be using. As it stands, it's the best gun at that range. It can outgun SMGs even at close, like some SMGs, apart from the PPSH and MP40, of course. But yeah, super versatile gun. Give this setup a go. If you've unlocked all the attachments, I understand the gun's only just come out. It's absolutely nuts. Again, class setup's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to talk through it every time. You can see and make your own decision based on that. Now, I have the MP40 here. Let me just change that because that wasn't the one I wanted. This is the class setup, the MP40. Again, it's pretty similar to the one I had at the very top of my list, the CDL list. However, this one has the recoil booster and the damage magazines attached, which aren't allowed in the CDL rule set. These attachments just make this gun an absolute beast. You can run through maps like nothing. You kill people really quickly. Yeah, give this setup a go. And again, everything's relatively similar to the rest of the classes. Next, we have the DP27, or the dinner plate, as I like to call it. I'm not usually a fan of LMGs, and in this game, the LMGs have some absolutely wacky magazines that you make it really hard to see anything. I recommend giving this a go. I've said this about all of them, but, you know, I sound like a broken record. This is super fun. If you're looking to have a bit of fun, you're not an aggressive player, you prefer to post up and shoot people from a little bit of a distance, give this setup a go. With the 63 round mags and fully loaded kit, you're going to have ammo for days. The damage is incredible, it kills super quickly. The only thing about this is that the reload sucks. It takes so long to reload. The recoil can be a bit high, and you're really slow with it. Other than that, absolutely ace gun. As I say, fully recommend giving it a go, especially if you pair it up with piercing vision. Piercing vision essentially means that if you're shooting near someone or slightly on them, you don't even have to be hitting them. They highlight through any sort of area. And with this being an LMG, you can wallbang pretty much everything other than solid rocks. Or some solid rocks, actually, in this game. So yeah, give it a go. Let me know what you think. The final gun I'm going to be showcasing is one I haven't seen much love for. I can sort of understand why, but this is going to be my best class setup for the Owen. It's a very close range SMG. I wouldn't prefer to use this over the PPSH or the MP40, but if you're looking for an SMG which is a bit different, give the Owen a go. It's a bit ugly because the magazines sit on the top of the gun, similar to a lot of the LMGs, so it is a bit nasty to look at. But this gun kills really quickly. It does bounce around a bit recoil-wise, but if that's a problem for you, you can just attach this barrel onto it. It does reduce the body damage, so it means it takes it a little bit longer to kill, but it does mean you can be a bit more accurate and shoot at longer ranges with it. Especially if you're hitting headies, because again, as I say, it increases the headshot damage. It's a fun gun to use. It's not the best gun out there. It's a fun gun to use. If you're looking for something a little bit different, give it a go. That's going to be it for me for this video. Let me know what you guys are using currently. If you know any other nuts class setup that you can think of, feel free to drop it down in the comments. I'm always interested to learn more. And if there's any guns you haven't tried on here, give it a go. Unfortunately, in this game, they've made it really hard for you to be able to level up new guns because you need attachments on new guns for them to be even pretty good or compete with any other guns. So it is annoying that when you try and use a new gun, you've got to suck for the first 20 levels before you actually unlock decent attachments. So I'd even recommend jumping into zombies and doing the first couple of levels, maybe 10, 20 levels on zombies, and then jumping into pubs. But yeah, give these class setups a go. If you're feeling a bit bored with the same old guns, they absolutely shred. Trust me, they shred. Especially the NZ41, the PPSH, the Cooper, and the DP27 for you pub stomping guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, sub if you enjoyed and want to see more of this sort of content. I tend to post a mixture of game battles, best class setups. I update you guys on patch notes, and I am a pub stomper. So, and obviously once rank play comes out, I'm going to be covering that like no end. I love a bit of ranked. That's going to be me. Enough of me babbling on. It's been a long enough video as it is. I'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao for now.